Groovy. We're going to start in butterfly. So bringing the bottoms of your feet together, setting up your heels so they're about 2 hands length away from your groin. Grab onto your shins, lift up your heart, take a full inhale. And then with your exhale, start to roll down, softening down, letting your head drop towards your feet. Just taking a couple of moments to notice how the room is. How your yoga mat feels. And then turning your senses inside. Just without specific instructions, just check in, just notice. Today, we're going to have a slightly different mental check-in. So first, I want you to notice your heart. And imagine your heart like the sun. Now the sun, we notice the sun when it shines towards us, but the sun actually shines out everywhere. So maybe you can picture your heart like that, radiating through the front of your body, as well as the back body, as well as the top of your head and the bottom of your feet. After we have observed the sun in our heart, notice that it is our thinking that can direct our attention, even our imagination, our imaginative attention. And one of the biggest relationships that thinking has to the planetary world is to Mercury. So just like we relate the sun to our heart and to love, Mercury often describes how a human being, like where you see in their chart, how a human being will think, how their thinking body is. So take them a couple moments and notice your thinking. Since you already activated it to observe your heart. With your thinking, you can stretch out your observation and notice not only the light and radiance and love from your heart, but notice what other emotions are there. Maybe you notice some other beauty, harmony, your incredible capacity to love. It's like your heart is the fuel, and then how it comes out into the world is through you. And when we look at the planets, Venus is the next one further away from the sun, and often connected to how we move in our feeling life, how we relate to beauty and goodness. With your next inhale, roll up and then bring your elbows behind you, shimmy your elbows in, let your head hang back. We don't often do this here, but you can even shimmy your elbows a little closer together so your chest pop. And then stick out your tongue, look at your third eye, and with a whisper, roar like a lion. Beautiful. 2 more times. 1 more time. Now, when we notice that we have feelings and we see things that we like and we appreciate beauty and harmony, you start to notice that we also have this fire and this will to initiate and move towards things or to change things we don't like. And this kind of raw initiative, impulse, urge is really connected to Mars, the next planet that goes around the sun. So we have this light-filled center that in our humanity is imbued and kind of fuels our thinking, our observation, our kind of wakefulness, which opens up the possibility to see beauty and love and harmony or disharmony or the absence of beauty. And then we have this fiery will to initiate change. And the next planet starts to kind of show how we move out into the world, not just in an urge or an instinct or a reaction, but with intention, with seeing that our choices and our activity can actually either build up harmony and beauty or suppress it. Start to let your elbows slide out to the side. Let your upper body relax down to the ground. Feet still together. One hand at your heart, one hand at your belly. And this is the impulse of Jupiter, this planet that helps kind of give us the long vision, the perspective of a teacher or a kind king or a wise teacher. And as we move out away from the sun, the next planet is Saturn. And Saturn has this incredible capacity to kind of take these long-term visions of teachers and kings, visionaries, and start to try to make it manifest. Now, often our relationship to Saturn and Saturnian things shows us kind of where we're limited, but it's this kind of imbuing the energy of institutions and larger forms than forms for just one person. So you can see that it kind of builds out of the idealism of a long-sighted vision. And some astrology, actually, when it talks about the human being, stops at Saturn, because Saturn is the last planet we actually see with our naked eye. Now take your hands to heart center. Sprout your hands up straight up from your hearts to the sky, like you're aiming at a star. And then lift up your feet, the bottom of your feet, make this little kind of odd shape that you can spy through, like a telescope perhaps. And then see if you can dive through that little space in between your soles and lift up and then stretch your legs out. And we're going to come into one more forward bend here in caterpillar. So you can have your legs comfortably wide. If the back of your knees are sore, your hamstrings are tight, you can sit on something or even put something below your knees and then start to roll down, letting yourself soften towards your legs. So after Saturn comes the planet Uranus, with lots of lovely variations in the pronunciation of that. And this planet is said to stimulate sudden change, which is thankfully necessary. We don't always necessarily like the effects, but it's a little bit like, okay, now you've had this vision, kind of this direction of Jupiter, and you've set these boundaries and institutions of Saturn, and now you need something that's going to kind of, I don't know, create a little mayhem, balance out this limiting elements of Saturn. And when we move to these outer planets, you can imagine them as less personal. So, you know, how quickly, for instance, Venus and Mercury move the closest to the sun, you know, that they go into very different positions depending on what time you were born or when you were born. But then when you start to get out past Saturn, you have this experience, like this relationship to the planets where you'll have generations that have the same type of influence, the same type of subtle conscious creators. So Uranus, you can think of as like really being outer space or like far away, and kind of the mysteries of outer space. And then comes Neptune, and it carries the name of a sea god. And so this is now like outer space, but like underwater. And so you can have this incredible imagination, but also incredible illusion or delusions. And then we have finally this little planet that was deemed not a planet, but actually is a planet, or we could treat it like the planet, and Pluto. Cold, far away, and slow. Now inhale, roll up. And just for fun, let's do another lion, set of lions. So bend your knees, put your feet on the ground, use your hands to support you, lift up your hips, drop your head back, really lift your hips up high, stick out your tongue, look at your third eye, and roar like a lion or a lioness. Oh yeah, with a whisper. 2 more times. Squeeze your butt, lift your hips, and 1 more time. And then bring your hips back down. And we are going to lower down to do a twist before we get our vinyasa on. So we're kind of doing, the twist, very, very simple twist. Hug both your knees up to your chest, open your arms up to a T, and then pull your abdominals to your spine already and start to slowly drop your knees to your left. You want to make sure your knees are as high as your hips. And then you want to turn your gaze either to the ceiling or to your right hand. Thank you. And in evolutionary astrology, Pluto, this planet that is like far, far, far away, represents our soul, and not just our soul in this lifetime, but that part of us that makes its way through lifetime after lifetime. And one of our kind of missions in this life, on this path of self-knowledge and self-realization, is that we want to let this fuel of our heart, the sun in our heart, illuminate our path so much so that we actually affect our soul. We understand that we've been brought into this lifetime with this body and these parents and these relations in collusion, in kind of some a bit like in collaboration with the planets. That we actually, as these human beings, even before we incarnated out of our free will, we chose these planets to affect us in this way, from this perspective, just like we chose our parents, our country, our home. So even these planets that feel so far away and affect things that are so much larger than us, we have a personal relationship to them. We experience them through the dynamics of our being. No matter how objective we imagine we could be, we only ever see through our eyes. Even if our eyes, the metaphoric eye, beyond the visual, and how even these faraway planets relate to us personally. Even if they relate to us in a similar way, then they relate to all of our generation. Start to hug your knees back to center. And then slowly drop your knees to the right, keeping your knees as high as your hips. Take a full inhale, and with your exhale, just sigh out. Your gaze is on the ceiling or to your left. Take a moment to allow your imagination to come back from Pluto, past Neptune, Uranus, to Saturn, to Jupiter, to Mars, Venus, Mercury, and back to this experience of the sun, or the source, you could even think. Infinite stars, infinite space, source of the knowledge of the world, giver of thoughts that empower creation, transforming light into the elements of matter. Radiate before my mind the 7 keys that unlock the doors of the mystery temple, that I may enter and fulfill the purpose for which my birth initiates. Written down by Orland Bishop in his book, The Seventh Shrine, Meditations on the African Spiritual Journey. And then roll your knees back to center. And stretch your legs out long. And we're doing a mini shavasana before we get a little bit more energized to rock into our day. So just lay still. Allow your thinking to kind of soften. Find the observational mind, the witness consciousness. And then you're going to hug your knees up to your chest. And now that we're nearly sleeping again, I want to make sure I'm going to wake you up good. So hug your knees in, moan and groan a little bit, and then initiate. I want you to rock 9 times, and turn around in 360 degrees. And then on your 10th rock, you're going to rock yourself into a seated position. So 9 is the number of Jupiter, and it always actually is the number of something being born. Sit a position at 10. And then we're going to Om into our vinyasa practice. So you can even, now that you've warmed up your spine a little bit, if you want, you can rub your hands together. Warm up your hands, maybe get a little wiggle on. Do some, sexy shoulder rolls. Oh yeah, baby. Okay. And then let your hands meet at heart center. Either gaze at your fingertips or close your eyes. And let's sound 3 ohms, warming up and awakening. Empty your breath first. Take a deep inhale. And then rock forward and come up onto your knees and hands. And we're going to start with some cat cows. I like how this is like very normal yoga speak. Let's do some cat cows. Like there's some sort of magic relationship between the cat and the cows. Inhale, lift up your head, your heart, and your hips. Imagine you have horns like a celestial cow. And then with your exhale, push the ground away, pull your belly up. Feel like you're arching your back like a Halloween cat. And then inhale, slide your chest forward, open up your heart, feel this radiating sun force from your chest, look upwards to be inspired. And then exhale, pull your belly in, push the ground away. Feel like you have, I don't know, stars on your back that are reaching for the ceiling. Inhale, open up into cow. And then exhale, push into floating cat. So you let your knees even lift up. That's how much your belly is reaching and pulling your thighs up. And then bring your knees down. Find your way to a neutral spine. Stretch your right leg back and pulse a couple times, pushing your heel towards the back of your mat. Feel like you can feel it in your calf. No relation to the cow. I wish we had a kitten. Oh, now raise your kitten. Okay. And then roll to the outside reach up your right hand. So you're coming into supported plank. Your right hand is lifted. Your right foot is behind your left foot. Look up, bring your chin towards your chest, and then look up towards the sky. And then see, maybe you can start to lift your leg and reach your top arm over your ear, stretching your fingers away from your leg as far as they go. And then with your exhale, bend your right knee, hold onto your ankle. Enjoy a back bend here, letting your hips lightly push forward. Your gaze is still on the ceiling, looking upward. And then release with just a little bit of control. And then with your exhale, come back to all fours. Inhale, lift up your head, your heart, and your hips. In cow, you might like to moo here. Moo. And then with your exhale, push the ground away. You might like to meow here. Okay, that's a little related. Moo, meow. Okay, and then inhale, come back into cow. Feel your shoulder blades reaching towards your hips. And then exhale to a neutral spine, so your lower abdominals are a little bit engaged. And then you're going to stretch back with your left heel and pulse a couple times with your left heel. Oh, there's a low battery warning on the computer. Pulse a couple times and then roll open so that your left foot is behind your right foot. Stretching your left arm up to the sky. Bring your chin towards your chest and turn your gaze to the ceiling. And then pushing down with your right shin, lift your left leg. So the more you can engage your leg, the lighter it becomes. Keep your gaze upward. Maybe stretch your arm up over your ear, balancing out. Your lifted left leg, get long here. And then with your exhale, bend your left knee, catch your ankle, gently push your left hip forward. Without falling out of the pose, release with some control, and then return to all fours. And this time, come into sassy cow. So we have a little bit lift in your chest, a little bit lift in your bum. It's like cow with attitude, and the wiggles. Beautiful. Maybe some shimmies too, if you're feeling particularly sassy, like cows do in the spring. You have to know that cows can dance and jump and run. It's cray cray. Tuck your toes under and then reach up into downward facing dog with your exhale. Inhale. Exhale, just getting used to your downward facing dog a moment here. Find a gentle bend into your knees to activate the reach of your lower butt. Yes, you didn't know you have an upper butt and a lower butt. Your lower butt is right where your cheeks meet the crease of your thighs. That's the spot you want to stretch up towards the heavens. Feel your fingers spread out, active. Shoulders coming away from your ears. Take another full inhale and then empty your breath all the way. Hold your breath out in Kumbhaka. Walk your feet in between your hands and inhale. Fill up as you fly up, halfway lift with your wings. Really reach through your fingers. Notice that when you lift your arms, you can actually often straighten your legs more, maybe even lift up your toes. That's how excited you are to be alive this morning. And then with your exhale, hug the back of your knees, bend forward. You just give yourself a moment, not scared to screw things up. Hug yourself. You got this. And then release your hands, ground down with your feet and roll up towards the heavens. Stretch your fingers up towards the stars. And then with your exhale, samasti tahi, coming back to center and releasing your hands. And with your next inhale, stretch your arms up, reach up, even look up, baby back bend. And with your exhale, bow forward, softening your knees, letting your breath be through your nose. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on the ground this time, and then step back to plank, and we're going to breathe here. So you're stepping back to plank with your feet hip distance apart. Keep your feet here. Now first, get long. So push your heels back, tuck your tail. Get longer maybe than you think. And then keeping your feet hip distance apart, roll to your outside of your left foot and stretch your right arm to the sky. You can keep your feet like they were. So it's kind of like a goofy side plank. And then roll back to center and try that wide-footed side plank again. So you just roll your feet to the right, stretch your left arm up. And gong tail. All right, bring your hand down, roll to the right, left, yep, that's the other way. Yeehaw, ta-da, and then come back to plank and roll the other way. Ta-da, and then bring both hands to the ground. Now slowly lower down, chaturanga, and then to the floor. Flip your toes over, plant your toenails, get strong with your legs, lift up, supported cobra pose. And then exhale, downward facing dog, coming through child's pose or just pushing back. You can go through chaturanga and plank for like that, extra tough bonus points, or through just coming on your knees, however you want to get there. Find your way to downward facing dog. All right, so you're going to breathe through your nose. You have a nice victorious breath, Ujjayi breath. So for today, maybe imagine that sound is like a crowd cheering, colluding with you for the success, for making choices that add up to a win-win, a win for you and win for other people. Take another full inhale, empty your breath all the way, and quietly float your feet in between your hands. Inhale, fly your halfway lift, stretch through your fingers, enjoy your movement. And with your exhale, hug the back of your knees, squeezing in with some tenderness. And then root down and rise up, stretch up tall, even waking up your fingertips to reach the ceiling, or you can palm the ceiling pair. And with your exhale, samasti tahi. Notice you want to maybe lift the corners of your mouth with a tahi. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. We're going straight to chaturanga with your exhale. That was a weird way to say it. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog or low cobra, whatever suits your back. Exhale, downward facing dog. And you want to feel your downward facing dog as a little bit like coming home. And now we're going to jiggle our home a little bit. So you're with your heels slightly lifted off the ground, start to pulse your heels and see if you can actually start to get like a shaking feeling through your body. You still want to breathe through your nose, but we're provoking our body a little bit. We're helping it get to this excited state where you can nearly imagine all the little cells in your body are like, yay, with their effervescence and movement. Effervescence. Oh, I had to use. Beautiful. So see if you can even get your butt, your thighs, your belly, your chest, your, upper arm fat to jiggle a little bit. Definitely your top knot to wiggle. Take another full inhale, take it in and empty your breath all the way, and then hop your feet quietly in between your hands. Inhale, fly your halfway lift. Exhale, hug the back of your knees in your forward bend. Now this time, sweep up to Utkatasana. Find the weight in your heels. You're sitting on an invisible chair. That's how cool you are today. Let your fingertips radiate and smile. Let your shoulders drop. Now be willing to let your hips drop down a little bit more so you can start the fire in your thighs. Take another full inhale, maybe risking a gaze upward. And then exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Feel your heart full stretch, and then jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. And with your exhale, bend your knee and let your hips spin open. Now, to help you keep your chest squared, come up to the fingertips on your left hand. And maybe even, risk lifting your left hand off the ground for a moment. Maybe see if you can find your foot with your left hand. Oh, it's a maybe. And then with your exhale, step your right foot all the way forward to your right hand and let your left knee come down to the ground. Inhale, reach your arms up. Now squeeze your inner thighs together. And then release the squeeze of your thighs as you drop more into the stretch. Squeeze your thighs together. This time, tuck your tail a little bit. And then release back into the stretch, releasing the tail. And now find a way to come just a little squeeze, a little tuck, and a little bit more of a back bend. So the small tuck of the tail with the back bending, it's like you're supporting your groins and your belly and your back all at once. Take another full inhale and then exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. Exhale, bend your knee and let your hips spin open. Yeah. And then come up to your right fingertips. Want to be balanced here. And then keep being active with your left foot. You're pulling your left foot towards your buttocks. Very nice. Maybe risk lifting your right hand up. Maybe even slapping the bottom of your foot for a therapeutic awakening slap. It's easier when someone else does it. Allow your breath to help you. And with your exhale, step your left foot all the way forward to your left thumb. Let your right knee come down to the ground. And then inhale, sweep your arms up. So when we tend to be stronger, we shy away from the stretch. And so we're quite active here. When we tend to be more flexible, we kind of drop into the stretch here and tend to be more passive. Of course, we want to be perfect, which is a little bit of both. So lift your Uddiyana Bandha, lift your Mula Bandha. Your Mula Bandha is your root lock. The Uddiyana Bandha is engaging your Hara point. And then feel that you have this kind of attention squeeze in your lower body here. And from there, lift up and over an imaginary barrel to come into your back bend. Feel the radiance of your chest shining out. And then follow your exhale all the way through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And walk your hands back to your feet. Other way around. And then step on your hands. So with your feet hip distance apart, you're going to lift up your toes and slide your hand underneath your feet. So your toes are right in the crease of your wrists. Now, most likely, unless you're super bendy, you have to bend your knees. Then inhale, halfway lift. Feel the effort of your chest moving forward and lengthening your spine. And with your exhale, forward bend as you tuck your chin in, let your head hang. Weight is actually coming towards your wrists. So another challenge for yourself, if you want, is to start to imagine or actually lifting up your heels. And then step off your feet. And this time you're going to walk your hands forward. And I want you to walk your hands too far forward. So you come into an extended plank. Pull your belly up. Feels a little weird. And then walk your hands back to traditional plank. And with your exhale, bring your right knee to your right elbow. And back again. And next one, bring your left knee to your left elbow. Inhale, back again. And then we're going to take it kind of double time, triple time. And we're going to do just a little jog here. Mountain climbing jog. So you're in plank. So maybe lower your butt a little bit for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then jump your feet to the outsides of your hands and come into garland pose. Now let your heart lift with your hands in prayer. Notice that you're full of energy. Interlace your fingers, spin your toes in, lift up, baby back bend. And with your exhale, come back down. Beautiful. Now, stretch your arms forward. And then you're going to take your right arm and you're going to see if you can bring, we're going to do this otherwise. You're going to bring your right arm in front of your right knee and stretch your left arm up. And then come back to center. Stretch your arms forward, bring your left arm in front of your left knee, and then open up. Beautiful. And then bring your hands down, plant your hands so they're hip distance apart. Excuse me. And then bring your knees to the back of your arms. And we're going to lift up into crow pose. So maybe both feet lift up, maybe one foot at a time. I can't demonstrate. My wrist is a little funky here, but Perry's doing it beautifully. Keep looking forward. And then imagine it. You're going to go to chaturanga, and with your exhale, jump back chaturanga. Yes. Inhale, upward doggies. You did great. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. With your exhale, bend your knee and let your hips spin open. Now either stay here or 1, 2, 3, flip your dog. What? So this is the back bend. First, take your right hand and lift yourself up to the ceiling. Let your hips lift up to the ceiling, and then sweep your right hand, maybe to the top of your yoga mat, maybe just to the front of the room. Now, yogi challenge. You're going to pull slightly your left hand and foot together. Turn your left toes out to the left, and then see if you can stretch your right leg straight up to the sky. Now, as you fall, step your right foot to your right thumb, or where it would be the top of your mat, and rise up, crescent lunge. It's just a little burn before we're done. Little fire. Take another full inhale. Feel the action of your thighs and your groins lifting up. And with your exhale, cathartic open arm twist to your right. And then inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse your triangle pose. And exhale, vinyasa it out. So chaturanga, inhale, up dog. Yeah. Exhale, down dog. Yeah. So close. Inhale, stretch your left leg up to the sky. Bend your knee and let your hips spin open. Now either stay here or follow your foot and flip your dog into a back bend. Now stretch up with your left hand, let your hips lift up, and then sweep your left hand back past your ear to the top of your yoga mat, perhaps. Now for the challenge, feel your right foot and your right hand, squeeze them together, turn your right foot out, lift your left leg straight up to the sky. And if you start to fall, step into your fall and rise up, crescent lunge. Beautiful. Find your crescent lunge, feel the action of your thighs engaging, your Uddiyana Bandha lifting, your Mula Bandha lifting, and then cathartic open arm twist to your left. Inhale up to center. Exhale, warrior two. Just touch it. Inhale, reverse your warrior, lengthen your leg, reverse your triangle. Thank you. And then exhale, vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing dog. Maybe slow it down, savor it. And then exhale, downward facing dog. And then jump your feet through your hands and come onto your buttocks, please. And with a little dance or a little slight, quiet boxing match, you can roll yourself down to the ground. Slide your heels closer to your buttocks. Feel that your feet are hip distance apart. If you're not sure, bring them closer together and then spin your toes and then a little bit more. Inhale, lift up your hips, roll up and find your way into bridge. We're going to do one back bend because we already did a couple. You might have noticed the flip dogs. So you can either stay here and bridge, which is absolutely respectable, good workplace here. Or if you want, you're welcome to stretch up into wheel, embracing and valuing when we meet our edges, when it's really, in between what we know and what we don't know, what we know we can do and what we don't know. This is our glorious becoming, fueled by the sun. And then lower yourself down. Let your knees fall together. Let your feet slide out. And we're going to do a man-sized twist. So hug your knees in. And slowly drop your knees to the left as your gaze goes to the right. Now, we did this once already in class today. But in this one particularly, you can take a moment to make it a little bit more yang than yin. You can engage your abdominals on your inhale and feel that that actually helps you in the twist because it helps create space and action. It protects your back, allows you to twist. And then hug your knees back to center. Oh my God, center. Maybe lift up your face and kiss your knees. Thank you for getting you this far in life. Incredible divine design. And then drop your knees slowly to the right. Bringing your awareness to your abdominals and really pulling in your abdominals on your exhale, perhaps. Feel how that supports your lower back and allows for a little bit more of a twist. And then bring yourself back to center and stretch your body out in Shavasana. So allow your body to be still. Allow your mind to be more in your observation instead of creative mind. With your next inhale, invite your breath to the edges of your body. Notice how your breath carries awareness. Maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes and smile and move your face around. And then with your inhale, stretch your body long, reaching your arms up over your head. And then with your exhale, curl into a ball. And if it's comfortable for you, roll onto your side. Feel the vibrancy in your body, your innate aliveness, your cosmic beingness. And then help yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. With your eyes closed, feel your belongingness and root down towards the earth, feeling that at the same time you belong upwards and reach up with the crown of your head to the stars. Empty your breath. Let's close with one Om. Take a deep inhale. Ah. Bring your prayer hands to your third eye. Invite the divine light. And as we bow forward together, we say, Namaste. So much love. Woo! Pop, 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 pop. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.